All right, I know. I'm going to get accused of being ripped on Hallis Kool-Aid. But after some of the cockamamie Lacon Foric reporting I've heard in the off-season, so be it. Take it that way. I'll start off with something that sounds perfectly hallucinogenic. I want to tell you about a young quarterback going into his second year in the NFL, Mitchell Trubisky. Now, I know a lot of y'all think that he's a third-year guy, but fact of the matter is, after a great year with the Tar Heels, Mr. Trubisky took an administrative transfer to Wasamatta U, where he was coached by Foxy Loxy and Chicken Little Logans. Playing at Wasamatta U, he suited up for a 16-game season, 14 of those games against NFL teams, 2 against the Detroit Lions. Yes, I did just say that there were only 2 NFL teams in the NFC North in 2017. Not my fault. 2018, after learning just exactly how fast NFL defenders actually are and just how much faster than that they actually look when you're telegraphing all your punches, Matt Nagy to the rescue. Now, you can call that Hallis Kool-Aid all you want, but I dare you to come up with what quarterback was going to come on those 2017 Bears and do better, like take them to the playoffs better. Sure, Aaron Rodgers might have won 2 more games than Mitch did in 2017 with that team. He wasn't taking them to the playoffs. Neither was Drew Brees. Neither was Tom Brady. 2018 was Mitch Trubisky's first year in an offense where he had a chance. For all practical purposes, it might as well have been his rookie year, which makes not only based on young developing quarterback standards, but also based on everybody on that offense is saying, second year, this offense makes more sense and it starts getting more powerful and starts getting more dangerous. I've seen some press conferences where I've heard other people report that players were saying how much better Mitch Trubisky was. And it sounded to me like they were saying how much better the offense was, and reporters were reading between the lines. I think you're not seeing the big picture if you think Mitch Trubisky is the only one that's going to get a second-year bump out of Matt Nagy's offense. I think the entire offense is going to get the Matt Nagy bump, or at least the ones that have at least 2 years of experience in it. And let's take a look at a few of those, because most of them have interesting stories to go along with the possibility of a second-year bump. Most of them won't be second year in the NFL bumps, but bumps in the Nagy system and these stories. How about Taylor Gabriel, who last year turned in a career season, even though nobody seemed to be happy with the actual numbers. He's practicing like a man who's less happy with those numbers than his critics. How about Allen Robinson? Nobody knew what to expect out of him coming off of an ACL. A lot of people complained that in his first year in this offense, he certainly didn't put up the kind of numbers that would justify all the money that we're paying him. Now he's going into his second year, fully healthy, full off season. Anthony Miller, he's going to play with 2 arms. Had surgery to repair a torn labrum. His shoulder was popping out every time he tried to stiff arm somebody. How about Adam Shaheen decided he wasn't staying healthy enough, so he started taking martial arts. How about Tariq Cohen? Actually, he doesn't have a special story this year. Tariq Cohen is the same old electric, phenomenal player he was last year. I think we can forgive him a lack of something special this year. How about Ben Braunecker? Interestingly enough, the Bears gave him another contract. Everybody keeps trying to trivialize and marginalize Ben Braunecker's chances, but he's a development player that the Bears decided to extend on. How about, while we're talking about tight ends, Bradley Soule? Everybody keeps thinking, this offense is so tight end heavy, and we just don't have enough in tight ends. Bradley Soule has shown that he has the hands, has shown that he can catch. He's in the process of showing that he can shed the extra 30 pounds he was carrying as a tackle and make himself a tight end. And him making that move into the tight end room makes room to bring up Rashad Coward to be the swing tackle that we'll end up dressing. Rashad Coward was a fella that moved over from defense last year and was doing so well at tackle, not well enough that they wanted to dress him every week, but well enough that they knew darn well that he wasn't going to clear waivers, so they stashed him on the active roster, never dressed him. Interestingly enough, when they got rid of the kicker recently, they didn't bring up a tight end. They're not as worried about the tight end room as a lot of their detractors are, the Bears. They brought up an offensive lineman. Yet, the offensive line, including Rashad Coward, is the next place to go on the list of people going into their second year in the Nagy offense. How about Cody Whitehair and James Daniels switching back in their second year in this offense to their more natural positions, and now they both know how to play two positions, so they both know the offense that much more deeply than they would have without making the switch. How about Kyle Long coming back at full health for the first time in, how long has it been, Kyle? I don't even want to, you probably don't want to, long time. How about our two tackles who constantly grade better on PFF than you'd expect them to grade based on the way people talk about them? Now, on top of all of that, think about all the help that all of those guys got last year from guys like Trey Burton, who was not in his first year in this style of offense. He had come from Philadelphia. Trey Burton, another one of those people are saying, well, he didn't come up with the kind of numbers that would justify his paycheck. Oddly enough, also came up with a career year. And now let's think about how much all the experience that has been gained by the people we've already talked about will be able to give to the new guys coming in. And Trey Burton, by the way, is coming off a surgery. How much better could that career year have been if not for that injury, which they say is extremely difficult to diagnose and a snap to fix once you've found it. So we don't even know how long Trey Burton was ailing during the season before the playoff game he ultimately missed. So, career year coming back healthier than last year. The one guy that did miss OTAs, which gave all of those less experienced tight ends a lot more reps than they would have had if he was there. If there's a guy that you can spare to some injury recovery, this year it was Trey Burton. I expect him to come back very, very strong next year, since he'll be playing with a whole group of guys who understand the offense way better than they did last year. And he and that whole list of guys from last year should also be humongous help, way more help than Trey Burton all by himself could be last year, to guys like Cordarrelle Patterson, Riley Ridley, Dax Raymond, Kerrith White Jr. Dude, that guy's a running back. I know. David Montgomery, Mike Davis. I see good things for this offense. I see humongously good things for this offense. Now, on top of all of that, let's throw in the fact that it's not just Tariq Cohen, it's not just Cordarrelle Patterson. There's actually 4, 5, 6 guys in this offense who could line up at wide receiver or line up at running back and be a threat to run inside and be a threat to run outside and be a threat to catch passes out of the backfield and be a threat to catch passes deep. 4, 5, 6 guys. There's a bunch. It's not just 1 or 2. And, oh yeah, by the way, Brad Childress thinks that just hanging out and putting in his 2 cents worth every once in a while is the best job in football right now. You'd think that man couldn't get employed someplace else? Pretty interesting offensive brain to have, just saying, you know what, you don't have to pay me that much, I'll just hang around and watch. Even Mitchell Trubisky's biggest detractors will admit, by way of accusation, that when he looks his really, really sharpest has been on those scripted drives at the beginning of games. I'd like to ask those people to ask themselves, how much better do you think he'll look on those scripted drives when he knows how the adjustment feature of that offense works? Now on to the defense. Going to have to ask those of you expecting a Bears defensive regression to kindly get a grip. I understand that it may be a statistical anomaly that they can't possibly lead the league in takeaway giveaway ratio 2 years in a row. I'm here to tell you you're about to experience an anomaly in that category, my friends. What has changed on this defense? Oh, well, we've got a whole new system. No, we don't. We have an offensive coordinator who runs a very, very, very similar system. Most of the language changes he's been just dealing with, letting them keep using the same names that they were always using. Came in the door asking them, what works, boys? What do you like? What are you best at? What are you having fun with? Let's build around that. We've lost the linebacker whisperer. Linebackers, I got a pretty good reason to believe ought to continue to be just fine without Vic Fangio, because I think they took Vic Fangio's coaching and it made them better linebackers, and they're not going to lose that stuff just because Vic's not around. Out the linebacker whisperer, in comes Chuck Pagano, the defensive back whisperer. The guy who always brings positive change to secondaries everywhere he goes. And what changes is he dealing with? Well, let's see. He's lost Bryce Callahan, who, yeah, some of you have finally begun to admit, actually a pretty doggone good nickel corner, after, PFF crammed it down your throat that he was one of the best in the league for a couple of years before you finally started to admit it. So, yes, that was a loss, and Buster Skrine is probably no Bryce Callahan, although he will have Chuck Pagano for a coach, and Duke Shelley giving him some competition. And his veteran tutelage, I'm sure, will not be wasted on Mr. Shelley. And, what was that other change? It was Clinton Dix and Adrian Amos. Packers fans, I'm sorry to have to break this to you, but if you look at the statistics, Adrian Amos's better years statistically were Clinton Dix's off years, the years when you guys were saying, hey, what good is this guy? He also didn't have the year where an experienced veteran had to be brought in to steal his job away, like the Bears had to do to Amos, to get him realizing that he actually, despite the fact that he started 16 games as a rookie, still needed to bring it when he came to work the following season. I think it may just be that you Packers fans are about to find out that an awful lot of what made Adrian Amos as good as he was, again, statistically kind of like Clinton Dix in the last 2 years, you're going to find out that playing beside Eddie Jackson made Adrian Amos a whole lot better. Losing his job and having to fight for it made him a whole lot better. He's up to what Clinton Dix was before he fell off. I think the Bears might be getting ready to find out just how good Clinton Dix is when he's playing on a team that he really likes. Or am I the only person that noticed that when he talked about what he's bringing to the Bears, he talked about coming up through good coaching, Dom Capers, Nick Saban. Okay, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one that heard Mike Patine not make the list. Yeah. Here's my bold predictions. I got the Bears running backs average per carry going from 2018's 4.1 to at least 4.8, maybe better. I got Trubisky, and Mitchell Trubisky, please forgive me, sir, for selling you so short. But it's 1,000 extra yards. I'm calling Trubisky for 4,300. I don't think 5 is crazy. I don't think that's what I would put my money on right now. Maybe after the first couple of weeks. And this defense. I was going to make my bold prediction for this defense, 28 picks and a total of 37 takeaways and 51 sacks. That's one better, maybe a couple better for the total and one better for those three categories, but I got looking, and I think I'm going to change that. I'm going to leave out the total takeaways. We might not get that many fumble recoveries, maybe enough in the passing game to, keep up with that 10. I don't think a lot of people are going to run on this team. Trubisky's going to score early. Now that he knows how to run the adjustment phase, he's going to score often. People are going to be playing from behind more in 2019 against the Bears than they were in 2018. My bold prediction for the defense is they tie the 85 Bear team with 34 interceptions.